What's up, everybody? Welcome to vlog number 12. We are officially at a dozen vlogs. That's pretty good because I like to, eat a dozen eggs as quickly as I can. So a dozen vlogs is probably good too, right? Anyway, a couple updates. Number one, I've started implementing the 20 seconds of really, really cold water to end my shower. It's kind of rough. The goal for me is to try to maintain my normal breathing pattern, turn on the cold water, and go as long as I can before it takes my breath away. It's good. It challenges me and puts me in a state of discomfort for a very, very short amount of time, hopefully making me mentally and physically stronger. Secondly, thank you, Timmy Mack, my colleague at Hartford High School, for holding me accountable and asking me to eat chopsticks with my left hand. What I expressed to him today was that I'm going to continue to try, but it would take me about 45 minutes to eat one meal with my chopsticks with my left hand. So I'll eat the first 10 or 20 bites left-handed and then switch to right-handed so that I can get a little bit of work done during my school day as well. As far as the ring push-ups go, I had to put them on hold for a little bit because I still have a little bit of an impingement in my shoulder. And I'm trying to take care of that so I can get back into full healing mode to be in line with my goal from the last video about what my goals are for this year. And for those that don't know, the premise to this vlog is my students who are 9th through 12th graders at Hartford High School in the beginning of the semester submit any question they want me to answer about anything related to health and wellness. And the question I'm going to answer today is, what was the hardest challenge you've had to overcome, or what was the biggest obstacle in your life? And those who have known me my entire life may think something physical, like, well, he completed a beast obstacle course race, a Spartan race, in less than 5 hours, where he ascended Killington from the bottom to the top 3 separate times. Wouldn't be that. It would also not be riding my bike across the United States in 53 days, which is 90 miles a day. That was a physical challenge, but definitely not one of the hardest things I've done. Not fishing in Alaska for an entire summer and growing a big bushy beard and working 12-hour days and that summer making no money. Nope. And it wasn't even... Oh, there's one other one that's slipping my mind right now. Oh, they say spending a year in Vietnam is like spending 4 years anywhere else. And that one I would say was close, but I had my partner with me, my wife, Jen, and we got through that one together. No, but in actuality, and kind of on a serious note, the biggest challenge I've ever had to overcome in my life was when I was in 8th grade. My parents moved just from one town to another in the state of Massachusetts, and they did it to improve the quality of the lives of their 3 boys, myself and my 2 brothers. And I had to switch schools and school systems, and when I switched into a new high school, the first 2 years was absolutely, without question, the most trying and challenging time of my life. They didn't have the term back then, but I was definitely, if it were today, it would have been a pretty serious case of bullying. People doing what they could to make me feel uncomfortable, and all I wanted to do was just to fit in. And I'd come home crying and wrecked at night and swear at my parents for making me go to this new place, this new school, and did everything I could to make them feel as awful as I could make them feel, which I feel horrible about now. Sorry, Mom and Dad. I know you're doing what you could to make the best life for us. But yeah, I just go into school every day and just kind of like try to be strong and try to get through, and it was just brutal. The kids that I really wanted to fit in just weren't interested in having me as part of their group, and at times they were relentless. And kind of when I look back and see what has changed between then and the person that I am today, I owe it to a major part of it to the group of friends that I switched and started hanging out with late in my sophomore year and into, well, for the rest of my life, really. So, Sean Rowan, you know who you are. You were a lifesaver for me in many, many ways. Not going to get too choked up, but you showed me that I could be me and still be loved by my friends. The Marions, Dubes, Des, Bruce, Pax, you know who you are. You guys pulled me out of a depth that is pretty tough to describe. And when I look back and think about that experience, I don't for a second regret having to go through it, because it taught me so many lessons. I really, really believe that we learn so much more about ourselves in times of challenge, and we build and push through and learn about who we are and how we can overcome what we can be. I definitely had very, very little self-belief at that time. I had very little self-confidence. I hid it pretty well, I think, for the most part, but it was the most challenging time of my life, and it hits close to home now as a high school teacher, seeing kids that are kind of going through a rough time and realizing how challenging it is for them to see them going through some of the things that I was challenged by in my younger years as well. So when I think about kind of the 14, 15-year-old kid who had no confidence back then compared to kind of the person that stands in front of this wobbly camera today because the wind is blowing the camera stand around, I think kind of what transpired over my life to make that change. And I think one of them is surrounding myself with people who I know really valued me, instead of putting a lot of time and energy into trying to be accepted by people who weren't interested in having me around. Also, now that I have kind of found my passion and found my calling in life, and I've actually created a life mantra and a life vision, which is to positively impact the life of everybody with whom I interact, I can lay my head at night knowing that I gave everything I could to be the person that followed my own vision and my own core values. And if I can lay my head at night knowing that, nobody can bring me down. And if I had the self-confidence and the vision back then of a older, wise man as a 14-year-old, I might have been better off, but that was a lesson that I had to learn. And so many times in my life I've been challenged, and it felt like it was something that I could overcome because I overcame that 2 years of emotional, social challenge. I don't know if you quite call it trauma, but maybe, that I had to deal with. And I'm so glad that I had to go through that, because any other time that I've dealt with something even remotely similar, I was very well equipped and very well prepared. So I think finding my passion and knowing that, and that really came for me through fitness, which is why I love teaching it and sharing it every single day. But yeah, the challenges, the physical challenges of Alaska and bike rides and dealing with other cultures and Vietnam and all that stuff paled in comparison to those 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year. And I ended up having a great high school experience. Junior and senior year were awesome, and my parents did the right thing by moving us to a new town. And I'm super, super grateful for that, because it was just a big part of my personal history. So with that said, I heard a kind of a saying the other day that I love, and that is, in our teens and our 20s, we spend a lot of time and energy worried about what other people think about us. In our 30s and 40s, we realize kind of who we are. We don't really worry about what other people think about us. And then in our 50s and our 60s, we realize nobody really was all that into us to begin with, because they were too worried about their own stuff. And all that time in your teens and 20s was kind of a waste of energy anyway. So that's my message to high schoolers. Be true, be you, and know that times are really, really rough sometimes, but tough times don't last. Tough people do. So stay strong, and I'm looking forward to sharing some more about my personal journey and my personal history through these questions and blog posts. Stay strong.